it's just so many different things. I'll give you an example. We have a mutual friend from grammar school who knows our circle as well. We were in a comedy group together where we did skits and things of that nature, and I've known him since 87 as well, 85 actually. And he and my so-called best friend are in a group chat together, and we have these different things that we send through each other, just kind of sophomore goofy type stuff that we send to each other. And my particular friend, let's just call him Lance. I can't think of another name. Lance sends us a picture of the 5 heartbeats on 6/22. It was 6/22 of whatever the date is, but it's in June of 22, and the timestamp on it is at 10:58 that time. And the only 2 people are Lance, my so-called best friend, and myself are in this group chat. And there's a picture of a Tribeca of 5 heartbeats in that picture. Now, the reason why I say that's important is because the missus don't know that I have our old phone, and guess what pops up on her phone? Exactly 26 minutes later at 11:24. It went from 10:58 when he texted us both in that group chat, and then she had that picture in her phone at 11:24, 26 minutes later, the same Tribeca picture of the 5 heartbeats. Now, what are the odds of that? And it's only from Lance and my so-called best friend, who they share a building with and the same elevator bank with. And she also had his work phone as her primary phone number. It's so many different things that I can show you via pictures, timelines, so many different red flags that they can't answer, but they're leaning their head on a so-called lie detector test. But I actually have things that show that lie detector test is a fraud because it's contrary to her passing. But they didn't know that I had this information. So they're banking off of, I don't have anything. So they continue to do those things. And I allowed them to believe that I didn't have all of those things. Meanwhile, as I'm doing those things, I had a brain injury. So I get COVID, and I ended up cracking my face. I ended up having a fractured face. We go to the hospital. For months, I'm telling people that my head hurts. I'm dizzy when I get up. They're telling me I might have onset vertigo, because when I wake up, it's like I'm on a boat. My head would hurt and all of that, and they wanted me to go back to work. I wasn't trying to go back to work because I climb poles for a living. I'm around electricity, gravity and electricity, plus you being dizzy is not a good combination. So I was on light duty, and during that process of being on light duty in that time, I was trying to make enough money to leave the house and get up out of my situation. But after having that injury, it kind of shut me down. Now I'm on light duty. I'm not able to work the 80 hours I was used to working. And now I'm like stationary. So it was kind of traumatic for me. So for 3 months of going through doctors and spine specialists, ear, nose, throat doctor, I had to go through physical therapy, a lot of these different things. And for months, my head was still hurting and whatever. Fast forward to Christmas, because that happened in September of 22. Christmas of 22, that weekend, I had a headache the entire weekend, and my head was hurting so bad that my wife knew of it, and I was trying to get comfort. Christmas Day was on that Sunday. That Saturday night, I was up from like 1 o'clock running the bath water, trying to get comfort to get my blood circulating because my head was pounding so hard. There was a lot of pressure behind my eyes. And that was at 1 in the morning. Now, at that time, my wife is with me. And at this time, I've already had physical issues due to this circumstance and situation. So she already known that I've passed out before. I passed out twice prior to that. So you would think that she would be eager to get me to the hospital at that point. But at that point, I could have been stroking out. She was not interested in getting me to the hospital. I ended up taking a bath. I ended up vomiting and just losing fluids everywhere. Vomiting and had diarrhea and all of those things, and still no ambulance was called. I wake up, she allowed me to go to sleep. I wake up the next morning, I'm still having these issues. I'm sweating, slumping back in my chair and all of those things. The Packer game came on at noon. The ambulance wasn't called until almost after the Packer game. And the only reason the ambulance was called is because my 22-year-old son at the time said, "What are we doing?" And he basically said, "Let's call the ambulance." So they were opening up windows, closing windows, turning the air on, turning the air heat on, all to prevent me from what? Stroking out, to where I go to the emergency room and they see that I have a blood clot on my brain and I have to have brain surgery. That plays right into their hands of me having an issue, because my friends don't know that I'm having brain surgery due to me fracturing my face. They're thinking that I'm having brain surgery due to what I'm going through, and my friends are saying that they're passing a lie detector tests even though they didn't. They're thinking that I'm having some type of brain problem, and they're not knowing that it's from an injury. So they played in their hands to the other friends who didn't know what happened. So it looks like, yes, he is having some type of brain problems because he had to have brain surgery. And they played that to their advantage. My wife allowed the person who I accused of sleeping with her to come up to the ICU where I am after having brain surgery. And I wake up to them at the foot of my bed. And then it's like he's only there to be a politician and show everybody that he cares when he really didn't. Because after my brain surgery, and all my friends that knows, I've only got one visit from one person. That person knows who he is. I mean, I had brain surgery where I even reached out to my friends because I was used to being out of the house 80 hours a week, and no one showed up while I was at home after my surgery. I'm used to being out of the house 80 plus hours a week. And now I'm stuck on a couch, can't go nowhere, can't drive. And I didn't get not one so-called friend to show up. So I'm telling this story so it can get out and that people can see that you can overcome people playing with you. You can overcome people messing with your life. You don't have to resort to violence. You can come out of it. All I care about now is the truth, and that's the only thing I've been after. So after my surgery and everything, I sat back and I just wanted to see all that I can uncover. I ended up finding my wife's old phone, like I said, and I was able to find more information. I was able to see when things were going down, how things were being said. I mean, she started deleting pictures that are damning. So all of a sudden, this is a person that's deleting profile pics, deleting group pics, just deleting different profiles from Apple Music. But I got all of this information. She didn't know that I have it because I had her extra phone. I can see a picture of her covering her face with him and her sitting next to each other, and I now see that that's a shame tactic. You understand? So it's like, I also took her to, when I found out that his ex-wife was living by herself because he'd moved out, I take my wife over there to talk to her, my so-called best friend's ex-wife, and she stays in the car for a whole hour, and it was a whole 90 minutes, so an hour and a half. You can sit back and watch all of Kid and Play House Party, where she didn't wave to a woman that watched our children a summer and didn't speak to a woman that let us live there for a month and a half before we were able to move into our own apartment when we moved back to Chicago. So this is the behavior that she's dealing with. A woman that watched our children, that she knows intimately, that we've had meals together, knows her husband, knows that we're best friends. She didn't even wave at her. She sat in that car seat with a face of terror because she didn't want to say a word to her. And you could see her redness in her face. Didn't say not one word to her. But what she did do is take a screenshot of where she was, I guess to show somebody else, because she knew where she was. Why would you take a screenshot of your location to show someone else? And sure as shit, from that screenshot and that location, I get a call from our so-called best friend, other best friend, trying to feel out what I did for the day, trying to get me to see if I would say, yeah, I took my ex-wife to my ex-friend's ex-wife house, trying to see if I would give him that information. But I didn't. And I was just still playing the fool. But at that point, I smoked him out again. And so as I'm on the porch talking with his ex-wife, we're just talking and we're just doing the normal talk of things that's happening. And she's telling me stories from their pillow talk that I've never told him. Intimate stories and details that I've never told him. But she's telling me these stories as if I told him, but I didn't, because there's only other one person that could have told him these stories. He knew intimate details of who made what for Thanksgiving in our household. When I made him a plate, he was exaggerating about the mac and cheese being the best mac and cheese he had, because he knew at the time that my missus made it, but I didn't tell him that. But as I'm talking to his wife, she was like, yeah, he raved about your wife's seafood mac and cheese. And I'm like, I never told this guy that who made what, but she knew exactly who made it. You understand? So she knew, and she's telling me, yeah, I believed he did it, because the minute she asked the man, did you sleep with his wife? He started lying. She knew, you know when your partner's lying. She said she knew based off of how he sounded and what he did, he knew that he was lying. So all of this stuff that I will show you guys, y'all will see the deleted pictures. How about her GPS? One of the dates that she was supposedly out, her GPS is, we stay in a certain area, let's just say from Western to Cicero. That's pretty much her driving radius. How is it that on this particular day, you're driving around between Western and Cicero on 95th for 10 hours without a stop between Western and Cicero? This is so now on the days that are suspicious, her GPS is either A, fishy, missing, or B, showing complete out of whack, that she's driving around a 2-mile radius for 10 hours with 0 stops. Oh, but first, she had a couple of stops before that. I apologize. One was to Walgreens and another to a different Walgreens. And during this story, I can show different deleted times of GPS. Her profile picture on September 26, 2020, which she deleted off her Facebook. But I have the actual pictures, and I know the reason why she deleted it, because her timeline that's one of the dates that exposed her from her behavior of her changing her timeline and changing her profile pic. I was able to deduce that that's how she made a mental note of what was going on. So I have this behavior via the text, via the profile deletes, via the text messages, via the text messages I got. I have so much information and so many different things to prove that they did have a line of communication and things going on, and that they are going through these measures to continue the story to go. But like I said, the only reason I'm here now is to prove it and to show y'all that this is what I've been through and this is how my life is. And so y'all can sit back and enjoy it, comment, tell your other friends, or let everybody see this for themselves. But I plan to show y'all the group pics. I plan to show you all of these different things, and y'all will see for yourself. I remember as I was talking to his wife on that porch, she lets me know that my ex-friend has a foot fetish. And so at that point, my head was blown, because guess who's taking pictures of her feet all the time? He had a foot fetish. My wife taking pictures of her feet, asking me, don't her feet look pretty? I mean, like, what in the fuck? Did I marry you for your feet? No, we had this conversation.